It is time to touch our bags and drop our sack on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Mailbag time. As you got questions, I got answers. We will react to them all coming up here on today's show. Before we do, I want to make sure that not only you're subscribed to Seahawks Today, but you're part of the Noti Gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on. So they're the first to know when we have new content. If there's a signing, trade, injury, we're putting up videos as quick as we can here on the channel. We're going live multiple times a week. We have our watch parties. We cover it all here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications. That way you stay up to date with everything that's going on with your Seattle Seahawks each and every day on the channel. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Ian with a $5 super chat, bang, says, hashtag Seahawks, will we see the Seahawks' new offensive system attack the middle of the field more? The answer, yes. Yes, they will, in a multitude of ways. Let me explain. First off, we are expecting to see Tyler Lockett and JSN kind of switch roles, if you will. They want to put JSN on the outside more and move Tyler Lockett to the inside more. So Tyler Lockett is going to be one of those key pieces to attack the middle of the field, if you will. Noah Fant should have an increased role in the offense. That's one thing they put a point of emphasis on. They put their money behind it. They wouldn't have paid him close to $12 million if they didn't have big plans in mind for him in that sense. And then there's one more key element to this, Ian. That is the running backs. Mr. Ryan Grubb loves using running backs in the receiving game. We saw it at the University of Washington with Dylan Johnson, and all three of the Seahawks' top running backs, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh, are all very good receiving backs. All of those guys, you better believe, are going to be used on those halfback swing plays and screens and try to go find open space in the middle of the field. So, yes, they will use the middle of the field more. Thanks for the question, Ian. Phobia with a $10 super chat writes in, hashtag Seahawks, who will have a better year, Woolen or Spoon? So, earlier this week, we did a full-on breakdown on Rick Woolen of why I think he's going to be a star this year. And I think he's going to have a very good year. But I think Devin Witherspoon's going to be a little bit better. And that's a good problem for the Seahawks to have. Not really a problem, but you get the idea. I think both are going to play at an extremely high level. Witherspoon is Mike Macdonald's favorite player. He talks about him every chance he gets. He's become the de facto leader of this defense. They're going to move him around all over the place. You'll see him on the outside. You'll see him play at nickel. He is going to be fantastic. I think Devin Witherspoon is going to be one of the top 5 corners in the NFL. That's how optimistic I am about Devin Witherspoon. Rick Woolen, I think he's got potential to be Pro Bowl caliber again. We mentioned this earlier in the week that he was the best corner in the NFL last year in man coverage. They want him to do a little bit more, take advantage of his athleticism, blitz him a bit more on the edge. But I think you're going to like what you see from both guys. But I like Spoon a little bit more than I do Woolen as far as that goes. Tony Hawk Skater. That's a throwback. How has DK looked so far in camp? Tony Hawk, DK's looked phenomenal in camp. And the insiders, the coaches, the players are saying this is the best he's ever looked. Now, we hear all that talk in this time of year all the time. We'll see, how DK looks when the games actually start, when they matter. But to DK's credit, he is, think about this. He's facing some stiff competition, right? He's going up every day against Rick Woolen, against Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love. This secondary is pretty steady Eddie. And what we've seen in practice is that DK's been able to hold his own and has been able to light it up, if you will. So I have high hopes for DK. The biggest thing that I want to see from DK this year, and I'm not getting my hopes up, but a man can believe, I want to see DK kind of temper things a little bit. I want to see maturity. I don't want to see as many personal foul calls. I'd be thrilled with another 1,100-yard season, 8+ touchdowns. I'll take all that. But if he can, kind of temper his attitude a little bit. I remember there was a Madden game several years ago where Chris Collinsworth said, hey, football's a game of emotion, but you have to learn to play with your emotions. Can't remember which Madden game that was, but you get the idea. That's what needs to happen with DK. That's, I think, the big goal for him because he's got the talent. We know he's going to be great, but just chill out a little bit, man. Will DK be an All-Pro this season? He was a second-team All-Pro. Will he be an All-Pro again? And will it be a first-team All-Pro? What do you guys think? Weigh in on our pinned comment today. Y for yes, N for no. If this is an All-Pro season for DK Metcalf or not, weigh in, let us know. Crabtree, he's sorry. Any info on how Tyrel Dodson is coming along? So Dodson, if you recall, was injured for much of the offseason activities. He and Jerome Baker. And we were told by Mike Macdonald that the hope was that both of them would be healthy in time for the start of training camp. Well, folks, I got good news for you. Listen closely. Not only did Dodson and Baker get healthy in time for training camp, but both of them have played at an extremely high level already. And the thing that I've been hearing, which will make things very interesting for some folks at home, is that Dodson looks better than what Bobby Wagner did last year for the Seahawks. Although Bobby struggled in coverage, Bobby still had a pretty good season last year. Was top 5, I believe, in tackles, was a Pro Bowler again. Even though he had clearly lost his step, Bobby was still solid last year. And everything I've heard is that Dodson looks better than what Bobby Wagner did. And the thing that he does different compared to Bobby is just how well he is in coverage. He was the best coverage linebacker in the National Football League last year. That's a night and day difference compared to Bobby. I think Dodson is going to be fantastic. As long as he stays healthy, I mean, there's reason to believe that he's going to be very, very good. Do you believe in Tyrel Dodson? I believe. I'm spamming B for believe. What do you guys think? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Byron Murphy jersey's on sale now. Chatsports.com/Murphy. He'll wear the number 91, so just add a 9 to that one. Got the blue jerseys, got the road whites, got the throwback options available, men's and women's sizes for you, and free shipping on top of that. Go to chatsports.com/Murphy. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Get your Byron Murphy jerseys today. Time for a couple more before we wrap up here. Let's go to Owain, who's checking in from Wales, England. He writes in, do you think Gino's injury will impact him for the season? Well, I'm not a doctor examining him, but what we've been told is that it's not that big of a deal. That they think that he is going to be just fine, that it's, if Gino had to play a meaningful game tomorrow, like an actual regular season game, he would play. All the testing came back negative. Gino seems to be just fine. Now, with that said, I think that they're going to be very cautionary about this. There's no need to put him out there until he's 100%. These are just training camp practices. He knows the system. He's been around for all the offseason activities and all that. So, no, I don't think it'll have an impact. Don't read into it too much if he is not around, if you will. Be patient, and I think things are going to be fine with Gino there. Schifferton writes in, or Shefferton, whatever. Do you think the coaches finally cut Eskridge and maybe Derek Young as wide receiver 6? I think the Seahawks carry 6 receivers. I think the final 2 spots go to Young and to Chenault. I think those are going to be your 2 guys. I think D ultimately gets cut when it's all said and done. It's a couple things, right? It's lack of production. It's the fact he hasn't been able to stay healthy. The fact that he's been a one-trick pony. Hasn't been a good receiver, just a special teams guy. And then you had the off-the-field stuff last offseason as well. To me, it's disappointing. It's way too much. I'd rather roll with some other guys and see what you got there. I'd be surprised if D. Eskridge makes this team at this point. I'd put it about 40% or less. Last one. Sirius writes in, why do you have high hope for Mike Macdonald? Why do I have hope for Mike Macdonald? Why would I not have hope for Mike Macdonald? He's been a winner everywhere he's been. Turned around the Michigan defense. Turned around the Baltimore Ravens defense. They were the best in the NFL last year. The comparison that everyone's pointing to is saying that he's the defensive version of Sean McVay. Last time I checked, Sean McVay was one of the best coaches in the entire National Football League. He said all the right things. All of the practices have gone extremely smooth. The guys have bought in. I have no reason not to believe in Mike Macdonald at this point. And then you think about, all right, John Schneider was in charge of personnel, okay? Mike Macdonald got to choose his own staff. And he did an excellent job putting this staff together, hiring the best. Ryan Grubb, I think, was a very good offensive coordinator hire. I can't wait to see this air raid, spread out offense, if you will, the multiple scheme they're going to run. You look at the defense. Mike Macdonald's going to be calling the defense, but you bring in AD, who did a good job with the Dallas Cowboys. Jay Harbaugh is your special teams coordinator. Jay Harbaugh was the best special teams coordinator in college football last year with the Michigan Wolverines. So I don't think he's made too many mistakes. He hasn't given me reason not to believe, to not have hope in what he's doing in Seattle here. So that's why I'm all in on Mike Macdonald. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. For continuing coverage, subscribe to the channel now. I've got some more videos coming throughout the next couple days, so be on the lookout for that. If any news breaks, we'll bring you a video as quick as we can here on the channel. Subscribe now for youtube.com/SeahawksTV. We'll see you next time.